Hey everyone, Livelock here with our first Elemental Shaman key review for the season. We're doing a Elemental Shaman key review in a +11 Court of Stars. It looks like our friend has a good A/B comparison with his performance and another Elemental Shaman's performance in the group. Looks like he's a little bit under geared relative to that Shaman, but still feels like maybe his relative damage is a bit low, and we'll find out why. We'll start off by looking at the talents. Um, it looks like the run is from the current week, so that's fortified and sanguine and volcanic. Um, Looking at the build, I would expect a shaman this week to either be using the lightning AoE build or the wildfire build. I prefer the wildfire build, but it looks like he might be doing a single target variant that I would maybe recommend for a tyrannical week. Looking at this, he has Primordial Surge. If he does have Primordial Surge, then that'll obviously be a pretty big DPS loss if he cares about like the bulk of his overall damage on Fortified Week. But we'll see. He has Elemental Blast as well, so I'm thinking that this is a tyrannical build. If I see him casting Elemental Blast, then I'll have that be confirmed. Um, Maybe the Raider IO is out of date. We'll see. Um, the first section of uh, Port of Stars is like not very important to me. This one mob, you can't really do much with this one mob, and oftentimes the first pack over here will just get deleted instantly. Like a lot of these things are like minions, like these little sabers will get killed pretty fast. So I do see that we haven't really casted very much. So you're stunned from thundering. So one thing obviously to keep in mind is that you have to actually respect the mechanics and the affixes, of course. It looks like also your action tracker is covering your interrupt tracker, which tells me that you probably don't use the interrupt tracker very much. So I'm looking to see throughout the dungeon, like how much are you interrupting? I actually have an interrupt tracker for the entire party over here, just for the purposes of VOD reviews. Maybe I'll recommend people adding that too, because that's a big part of doing your job as a DPS. But here's the first real pull. So what do we do? It's a single target pull, as far as we know. Like maybe things get added into it, but uh, the first thing that we do, we apply flame shock and we start casting lava burst, and that's what you should do in this situation. The primordial wave is still on cooldown, so I guess when he casts that, we'll see if he has lava surges every couple of seconds. Then we know that was his real build. Let's see. So you did interrupt. That's good. You send out a probably instant cast uh, lava surge proc, and then you do primordial wave, and then let's see, at the point that you do your next lava surge or next lava burst, do you get the haste buff? Because if you do, then talents are good. And if not, then so far, so you're this is primordial wave, and I think this means that you're doing the tyrannical build, and that's going to be pretty tough if you care about your overall. Maybe you only really cared about doing like boss damage, but I don't think that would be the right play this week. Looks like your group will probably be doing just fine in terms of overall damage for the key level. Everything's kind of going to hell here. Oh, one thing to check actually. You don't have Thunderstorm, and this week is a great week to have Thunderstorm because this right here. So I mean, you're lucky right now, but I'm sure it'll happen in this key. It always happens. Like one mob will be left over, standing in Sanguine forever, and you can actually do a lot about that with your knockback. Our knockback is like really over the top. Like it sends them like flying across the map. So use it responsibly, but you do want to actually boop people out of Sanguine when you can. You can do it like at least every pull. Uh, we did not interrupt that, but what are we doing here? Okay, so it looks like you definitely are doing Elemental Blast build. That's fine. Um, I don't see. One thing I did notice is that you haven't really used Spirit Walker's Grace very much, and you have been dodging a lot of volcanics, and that might be contributing to your lower APM. I think part of the problem with your damage right now, other than gear, obviously. Oh, let's see what you do here. Okay, so you got one, and then a bunch coming in. You don't have Stormkeeper anymore, but you have a Stormkeeper buff left over. So if it were me, I'd wait till the very last second just to get the empowered chain lightning off on the group. Um, what do you end up doing? So okay, I guess you didn't realize that that was going to happen right there. So you used your lightning buff on lightning bolt, which is better than nothing, but obviously not as good as it could be. Okay, so right now what you're doing here, how many are there? There's one, two, three, four, five, six. So looking at this, when you're taking Surge of Power, you have to be using Surge of Power procs wisely, and that really means using it either on Flame Shock at the start of a pull or to refresh your Flame Shocks if you have to. Typically, you don't have to. Usually, if you have Fire Ellie up, your Flame Shocks will last the entire pull. Uh, Using them on Lightning Bolt, which you should do in single target if you care about single or priority damage, or using them on Chain Lightning if you're fighting six or more people. That's a consistent boost to your damage. Or using them on Lava Burst if you really need to get like your Fire Ellie back. Usually he comes back pretty fast though in AoE because you're running Skybreaker's Fiery Demise. So what you've done so far is build Maelstrom up to 100, and you're still casting another Chain Lightning. So that's not going to get you anything by doing that. But now what you're doing, which is right, is send an Earthquake out and then go back to Chain Lightning. So Chain Lightning, Earthquake right now. What do you do instead of Earthquake? Okay, so right there, here. So you Chain Lightning right here. You get the cast off, but then you move to the left, I think for no reason. Maybe you thought that Volcanic was going to get you, but you already finished the cast, and it was already gone. So, and you could have used Spirit Walker's Grace. And now there's like, I think 2 globals of you doing nothing, and that's going to be a very big damage loss. Like for us, for Shaman, like we aren't like a very bursty class, which means uptime is very important. So if you can't have uptime, then we're going to pay a steeper penalty than someone like an Arcane Mage, for example, where oh yeah, see look, it happened right away. Like he's in Sanguine, and you could boop him out and save this pull. But instead, everyone's just standing there waiting for this guy to get out. Also, you keep on damaging him, but this shield, do you have Purge? You do have Purge, which is good. This shield, FYI, I think it's a 25% magic DR. So you definitely want to purge that. And there's a lot of like little things like that. It happens in Azure Vault as well. The magic DR shields. Like you're just like blasting this guy with Elemental Blast, and for all you know, that shield's still there. It's like 25% off of your Elemental Blast. Luckily, in that case, it ran out, but you didn't know that. You were just charging up that Elemental Blast anyway. Like, yeah, let's do it. This is gonna feel great. So what do we do? Now we're getting into the part of the dungeon where there are like normal pulls and you can breathe a little bit. So how do you do this? Going into this next pull, we don't have Primordial Wave. I would like to see you have Primordial Wave more often for the start of pulls. Um, it's more important to do that when you are playing uh, instead of Primordial Surge, Splintered Elements, because then the haste buff will last you like I don't know however many seconds it is. Is it 12 seconds? It is 12 seconds, yeah. So you want that at the start of a pull. You don't want that at the end of a pull, obviously. So you might have to break this habit once you switch over to Splintered Elements. It will make a very, very big difference in your damage if you do Splintered Elements correctly for AoE pulls. So right now you can't really do anything. Like if you're gonna play Deeply Rooted Elements correctly, then you're gonna have to uh, farm up Chain Lightning Maelstrom, do an Earthquake, double apply a Flame Shock, and then do that again, and then start fishing for your Deeply Rooted Elements procs. Because you want the most people as possible to have Flame Shock, because not only does it buff your Earthquake through Magma Chamber, it gives you CDR through Skybreakers, and your Fire Ellie gives you increased fire ticking, which gives you more damage on your Earthquakes through Magma Chamber. And whenever you proc Ascendance, you send out Lava Bursts to all of your Flame Shock targets. So everything in this build requires you to be keeping up all of your Flame Shocks like all the time, basically. And we are unable to do that. And in low keys, we pay a pretty steep price as well relative to melee classes because, like as you can see, like everyone that's melee has like instant cast, on demand AoE. Looks like your friend might have been a bit more prepared for you than you, for this one. But okay, what do we have now? Do we have anything? We don't have anything. So we're going into another poll without any resources, and we don't have the maelstrom to compensate for our lack of resources. So this is, I think, by far the most important thing is to like, well, use the right talents and set yourself up for success at the end of every pull by making sure you have what you need for the start of the next pull. It might be primordial wave, it might be maelstrom. It kind of depends. So we're okay. So far, we are missing multiple seconds off of the pull. I should ask people to have a pull timer as well because it's hard to be precise about the costs about things like that. But so you start off with a chain lightning because you have nothing else that you could do. No, you do. You have liquid magma totem right here, and you're in a AoE pull before a boss. So the right move here is to send out liquid magma totem, especially because you've invested 4 points into getting liquid magma totem resets through Call of the Elements through your totemic recall. So that's a very expensive talent for you to have because instead of totemic recall, you could have either your sanguine boop, your ancestral defense, so you can live a bit easier. You could have uh, that's probably it. Yeah. Nature Swiftness. I would love Nature Swiftness as well, especially if you're doing Elemental Blast, which you shouldn't probably be doing on this week, but if you are doing it, you definitely want Nature Swiftness. So you've got a very expensive talent right here that you're not using. You should be sending out your Liquid Magma Totem every single pack and resetting it as often as you can. So both of these are looks like you did just send it out. You should have sent it out sooner though, and you should reset it as well. I don't know if you've done resets yet. I guess we'll keep an eye out for that. This guy right now has a magic DR, so everyone's suffering because of that. Um, but no one seems to care. So that's maybe why the Demon Hunter is passing everyone right now. Otherwise, the name of the game with this build is Lava Surge procs. Like you should be sending out Lava Surge procs all the time, even in AoE. Up until like I think probably like 6 targets or so, you should be doing that. I don't know the exact number. Oh, it looks like you got aggro here. Do you have Earth Ellie? You do have Earth Ellie, right? And I would expect you to Earth Ellie instinctively once you're getting pounded by 4 mobs. Let's see. I don't know where Earth Ellie is, but I don't see an Earth Ellie. Earth Ellie, by the way, is also a defensive cooldown. Of course, gives you 15% health. So you didn't even use you didn't even use Astral Recall. Um, he could use a boop there. So the group paying a very large penalty in the lack of utility. So here, first boss, what do we do? We start off with a lightning bolt. Why do we do that? Do we still have a Stormkeeper proc from something else that we're trying to use? Um, we start off with lightning bolt even before flame shock. We want to do that. But now you're going to get, yeah, so I'm anticipating that you're actually going to have very low APM on this fight because of the floor effects and because of volcanic. And I will bet, based on what I've seen so far, that wasn't even going to hit you. That you're not going to use your Spirit Walker's Grace. And let's see. Yep. So no Spirit Walkers, no defensive, and no Earth Ellie, which looks like it's maybe uh, shift 1. Let's see. So now you're running out of all these floor effects. You're not casting anything at all. Maybe you're getting a couple of melees in. Let's see. Do you react and change your damage priority rotation with the ads that were just pulled in? Mistakes like this happen. Let's see. If it were me, based on what I have right now, you don't have anything left over anymore. You don't have Stormkeeper. You don't have Liquid Magma Totem. You have your so you have your Totemic Recall. So you should be resetting your totem, adding that to the group, and then doing your normal rotation, which is oh, it looks like you're stunned. You're capped on Maelstrom, which is sending out earthquakes and fishing for Ascendance procs with Lava Burst. Like that'll be a very high value strat. And all of them are gonna have sanguine. Actually, do they not have sanguine? Oh, okay, though. Okay, so you guys didn't actually do the thing where you kill the towers and prevent ads from coming. So that's just like a dungeon thing. FYI, you can click on these towers and it'll make the ads not come during the fight, which can make it better or worse depending on what kind of class you are, I guess. Usually people just do that. So you're stepping out of this, but you're not doing any Spirit Walker's Race, so that's another wasted talent in the tree here. I would definitely learn to use Spirit Walker's Grace a lot, and even invest in maybe Graceful Spirit to lower the cooldown of it. It's like a very very handy utility. Um, One thing I've been doing lately is using Flash of Lightning, actually, because that gives you back all of your utility spells way, way faster. I think it even works on your interrupts. Every lightning bolt that you cast, you get like a second back of all of your nature spells. So, I mean, that counts for like Ancestral Guidance, it counts for Spirit Walker's Grace, it counts for, I'm pretty sure, your interrupt. All these little things that you can use it for. And you're already casting this all the time. So okay, the healer is dead. What's the icon for Ancestral Guidance? It's a little blue guy. Where's your little blue guy? Do you help out the group by using Ancestral Guidance? Let's see. Um, you have it. Someone's almost dead. You're doing nothing. I don't know why you're doing nothing, but so far there's like no cast happening. I think you're just freaking out. Are you looking for Ancestral Guidance? Oh, you're gonna get volcanic. What are you hovering over? Uh, is that res? Oh, okay. Okay, so you just said like, okay, whatever, we're gonna kill it. That's one way of doing it. I would definitely throw out Ancestral Guidance. It looks like, I don't know if this is true or not, but based on the lack of numbers and letters I see on the top right, it looks like this row may not have keybinds. If that's the case, then there are definitely very important things in here that you want to keybind, like Purge, Ancestral Guidance, uh, your defensive. Definitely want to have a keybind in your defensive. Everything should basically be keybound. You don't need to keybind like random stuff like water walking maybe, but everything else, even uh like your totems, like your slow totem for example, should be keybound. Okay, so we got a fresh start here. Well, actually, we don't have a fresh start. We used our primordial wave last time. So once again, we're going into a pull with no options. We're kind of limiting like the amount of damage we can do. Um, you send out your primordial wave, which means now you can spam out your lava surges, but this guy's gonna die before your primordial wave window is even done. Yeah, so now you're getting all these lava surge procs probably, right? Like you still got one right here, and they're doing nothing for you at all. So that was like a waste of primordial wave. If you're gonna play this build, which is definitely like a Tyran weak build, or like big single target like priority, maybe you could do it in Azure Vault. Like there's a lot of like 3 target pulls in Azure Vault. This could like maybe be a thing you do there, or just anywhere with like really scary bosses. But at this key level, your main goal is to focus on just like mastering your rotation and getting to the point where what's your item level? Your item level so far is 392. So you've actually got pretty good gear. That's about what I have too. I think I have like 396 maybe right now, 395. At this key level, in a Court of Stars, like in most dungeons, you should expect to be between 40 and 50k DPS overall. Sometimes even more. Like Algathars, you can get up to like 60 to 70. At least I can at this key level. So they're all gone. So okay, one thing to keep in mind going into this pull. Part of this is just knowing what to expect in dungeons, but as you're rounding the corner here, I know that this is the place with tons of little imps. So I see that I have Stormkeeper off. Uh, I'm looking for Stormkeeper. I'm doing Spirit Walker's Grace right now. I'm casting Stormkeeper, and then I'm ready to send out that big chain lightning on all these little guys. And uh, I would love if you had at least 50 Maelstrom at the start of this pack, because then what you could have done is instantly earthquaked and then instantly did a empower chain lightning with one extra target in it. But instead, all of your friends are killing them all, and they're gone before you can even do anything. So now that's that. Now you're left to do like lightning bolt on this guy, and lightning bolt is like not good. Uh, there are builds where lightning bolt is good. You can empower Lightning Bolt to make it good with Surge of Power, but spamming Lightning Bolt is like our last resort. It's very bad. It barely even generates Maelstrom. It's like 10 Maelstrom. Like you never want to be in a position where you're just spamming Lightning Bolt. Let's see. Okay, so new pull, fresh start. Let's see. What do we have? We have everything for this pull. Okay, so this is great. So 3 targets. What you want to do, given your talents, is send out a liquid magma totem, and then send out a primordial wave, and then spam out lava burst, and then only don't spam lava burst to use your maelstrom on earthquake. That's all you're gonna do. Let's see what you do. So you send out your fire rally. That's good. Yep, that's just fine. You magma totem. Excellent. You you primordial wave, but you got some weird delays there. Like sometimes you're just like stopping and doing nothing. Oh, I do see that you have this tracker now. I guess I wasn't seeing that before for some reason. I think that's my tracker. Um, yeah, I made this tracker such that it's capped. It doesn't just show you like start to finish what the flame shock duration is. It's always a maximum of like 46 seconds or so, which is like how much it'll be when you have your fire elemental out. Like when your fire elemental is out, your flame shocks last twice as long. So you always get to see like relative to how long they can be, where they are. So let's see. This guy obviously capped out at 46 because you hit him again with a primordial wave, which is fine. So now you got that down. Next thing you're doing, not spamming chain lightning, you're spamming lava surge. You have a proc already. It's already been too long. If you download the rest of my weak aura pack, I even have a counter that shows you every 3 seconds like your next lava surge proc when you're using that talent. And you never want to overlap those because those are empowered. So we've got okay, we're doing the right thing now. And actually, look at the damage. Your damage isn't bad. You're pretty close to your friend. But now we're running around. Oh, we're running around in our ascendance window. That's very, very bad because you can only even fit like maybe two lava bursts and a lava surge proc maybe in there. But now that you've taken away at least one global with this movement, that's like at least half the value. Let's see. So you got out your elemental blast. One reason that you want to have nature's swiftness is because when you're in this position, you have only 4 seconds, as far as you know, to use as many lava bursts as you can. If you cast an elemental blast, which you have to do, it's DPS gain. But if you take like 2 seconds to cast that thing, then you're drastically cutting down on the potential value that you could have. What you should be doing is just nature swiftness and then instant elemental blast. It's only one global. Then get back to your lava surges, your lava procs. And now you got another thing here, but this entire time you could have just been using uh Spirit Worker's Grace. It's a really long cooldown. It's like 15 seconds of free casting. It's a lot. And it's up very often if you have a combination of a Graceful Spirit and Flash of Lightning. It's up like every pack maybe. Maybe every other pack. Kind of depends. But we're casting Lightning Bolt now. But we do have Lava Burst, okay. And he is stuck in Sanguine. Here's where you could have gotten him out. So okay, the last thing you did was cast your Elemental Blast. Now you have a pending proc for Surge of Power. That is the Surge of Power icon, right? That may not be the Surge of Power icon. I expect you to have that. Oh, okay, you already used it. So you used it on a Lava Burst proc. That's fine. You wanted to get in like a little bit more DPS on that guy, but just keep in mind like there are other things you can do. Like the next pack that you were getting into was actually a imp pack, and you could have saved it instead of like eking out like one last 20k lava burst. You could have saved that proc for this next pack right here, to benefit you on AOE, which would give you more maelstrom, which would guarantee an earthquake, which would give you another empowered chain lightning. Maybe even give you time. Yeah, like actually, instead of doing what you did there, here let's go back. So okay, he's about to die. Ready? He's dying right now. He's about to heal people. Fine, kick him. You already casted your Elemental Blast. At this point, I think don't do anything. Just cast your Stormkeeper, and then you've got these imps over here. Then you can do empowered, Stormkeeper empowered, plus Surge of Power empowered, lightning bolt, or sorry, chain lightning, and then instant earthquake, and then do it again. And these guys hurt a ton. Yeah, you see that? So, do you have anything special with your cap totem? You know, maybe in Pug static charge is better than what's the other one called? Guardian's Cudgel. But I actually have been liking Guardian's Cudgel. I do run with like a mixed like Pug non-Pug group, but like having like for example, if other people are okay are on board with this and they don't like just dr the stuns like to oblivion right away at the start of the fight, then you could have single-handedly locked down all of those dudes for like 6 or 7 seconds. uh Also, if you see them all charging up to one bang somebody, you definitely want to pop your defensive. I'm not sure if you've used your defensive yet. A lot of what turns into like high overall DPS is like living. It's like very not trivial. I don't like how this thing is like stuns you after death. Like that's weird to me. I feel like that's a bug. It's also weird that you're still running. um, your friends are on your side over here. Okay. So we're getting to the point where a lot of people. We're 10 minutes in, and how long have we been recording? Okay. I feel like I see like the major themes so far, but we can give like more concrete advice. Okay, Ascendance proc. The only thing in the world that matters is a lava burst, and elemental blast if you're going to cap. Which means ninja swiftness is awesome because you don't want to waste time casting that spell. That spell is really long to cast. Oh, you don't want to cast storm. I would not do that. I would not empower my lava surge. I don't know what the Sims say about this, but my hunch is that it's not optimal to empower. Definitely don't cast Stormkeeper during your Ascendance proc. If anything, cast Stormkeeper before the pack. Hope that you get an Ascendance proc, and then just use the Ascendance proc on whatever you were going to empower. In AoE, using it on an empowered lava beam would actually be a pretty decent thing to do. But a 2-target lava beam, I think it's actually better to just save your Stormkeeper for either AoE or for like another priority target outside of Ascendance. Let's see where you go now. There are a couple of ways that you can use Stormkeeper. Like with this build that you're running, it's kind of hard. If you were running like the normal Wildfire build that doesn't take Elemental Blast, then why are we stalled? Well, if you're running that, oh, like another one of these, I would cap totem right away. Oh, you canceled your only chance to get damage in on this fight because of Volcanic, but you have Spirit Walker's Grace. So now you may get no cast in at all, and you might get one shot. Let's see. You don't get one shot, which is great, but that's only luck. You could have gotten one shot. Um, you're about to fight a single target person. So I'll tell you a little bit about um, how I've tended to use Stormkeeper in practice. I assume the fell explosion person is the next pull. Let's see. Uh, this might end up being very dangerous. I feel like you're gonna back. Someone's gonna back pull, butt pull somebody. Um. Well, okay. While this is happening, there's a couple of different ways you can use Stormkeeper. Uh, one way of using Stormkeeper is assuming you're setting yourself up for success before the pull, which means you're making sure your Primordial Wave isn't on cooldown. Like, don't use it if like there's only one mob left with like 100 health, obviously, right? You want to have that for the start of a pull. You want to hold it. You want to hold it. Well, you want to cast it, and then you want to do your normal opener as though you don't have it at all. You need to have enough Maelstrom, so you don't have to cast any Chain Lightnings or Lightning Bolts. Go as long as you can, spamming Lava Bursts. Hope you get an Ascendance proc, and then if you do, then you can send out the empowered Stormkeeper Primordial Wave, or sorry, the empowered Stormkeeper Lava Beam on 6+ targets. You can throw an Earthquake in there as well, and then you just do like Earthquake, Empowered Beam, Earthquake, Empowered Beam, and then you can use your Ascendance proc like that. That's one way of doing it. That's like a lot of guaranteed. It's like a big guaranteed burst. Uh, Another way that you can do your Stormkeeper is with this build, it's hard because Elemental Blast is so expensive. So do you move here? Let's see. You do move here, but you should be using Spirit Worker's Grace. Um, Another way that you can do this is make sure you have about like 90 to 100 Maelstrom. Uh, do Stormkeeper, then do Earth Shock, Empowered Lightning Bolt, Earth Shock, Empowered Lightning Bolt. Because if you don't know, the Lightning Bolt empowered ability from Surge of Power is actually like a pretty substantial DPS increase over like the normal Lightning Bolt. So you'd like double dip on that effect. You can get some pretty strong single target burst with that as well. And I think Stormkeeper is nature as well. Stormkeeper might be reduced by Flash of Lightning as well. So a lot of things get reduced by Flash of Lightning. Um, but yeah, I mean, here your DPS is just low because like a lot of the time you're not actually doing anything. I think that's like the main thing. The build is not a great build for this week, and on top of that, a lot of the time is actually spent just like moving around, dodging things, and not actually casting spells. Uh, Shaman is like a very simple spec, but it can be very complicated because like the what you do, what to do is not always obvious. Um, like there's a lot of things like a lot of interactions like Stormkeeper and Surge of Power, for example, that will just kind of uh, trip you up if you don't know about their benefits. Like not using, nice, not using. Oh, are you? Oh, okay, you got interrupted there too. So yeah, one thing that you can do about interrupts, by the way, maybe just to like train yourself to start using Spirit Walker's Grace is you can invest in this Spirit Walker's Aegis talent so that you can't get silenced or interrupted. So then you can just use it just to like avoid interrupts, right? And just like spam it. Like if you use it on cooldown, it would have been better than what we had here. I think. Let's see. I just realized now I haven't been full screen for that entire time, but hopefully that's okay. So we're going forward. We're trying to go forward. Let's skip ahead to. I think we get the idea what's lacking with trash pulls. Let's skip ahead to some of the bosses and see how that goes. This boss is going to be very difficult for you if you don't use Spirit Walker's Grace and you have an Elemental Blast build because there's a lot of movement. So typically you kite around in a circle around this ring. Let's see. You start off with uh let's just see. You start off with Primordial Wave, right? Oh, okay. So I do this a lot as well. I'll admit, but it's like obviously a waste. Like you don't want to flame shock before you primordial wave. Like it is also like a thing I do. Like I'm just like spamming flame shock all the time, right? but but well, just as an FYI, once you stop using this talent, that gives you once you go to splintered elements, what you're going to want to do is hold on to your primordial wave to get a lot more value out of it with ads. So it's going to take a lot of muscle memory, like rejiggering, in order to do this. You're going to want to interrupt that guy so that they group up. Um, did you take advantage of this ad phase? Let's see. So ads are coming out. What do we have? We don't have Stormkeeper. That's already gone. So that's probably the biggest tool you had to take advantage of the ads in terms of damage. Um, Now you do Flame Shock. I think that Flame Shock is definitely not the right move. Like, what are you going to do with that? And then you're going to Lava Burst. Who's your target right now? I actually can't tell who your target is. Is it the boss? In which case, like the Flame Shock wasn't super important. And then you're capping on Maelstrom, and then you're doing an Earthquake. But by the time you do the Earthquake, everyone's dead. So just the Infernal Imp and the boss. But the Imp is going to die to like passive cleave. So uh, so yeah, I expect that. Basically, like you haven't really been able to do anything to the boss. You're just doing like a kind of like single target rotation, but definitely a lot of things messing up. You're kind of making it hard on your team as well because you're not staying with the boss. Now there's a guy over there, and now you're running all the way around this thing. Yeah, I mean the main takeaway is I think your main problem is movement, movement and talents. I guess everything else W Z2. So let's skip to the last boss. I think the last boss will probably just like really drive this home. There's even more movement on the last boss. I'm assuming you're gonna take a steep penalty in your lack of Spirit Walker's gracing on this last boss. Let's see. If you don't know, it's kind of our job as range to he does like this targeted ability, and we're supposed to bait this, which is good. Yeah, see, so we bait it. Now it's over there, which is great, but it's bad that you weren't able to cast while you were doing that bait. There are builds that are way more mobile and simpler than this build, like the lightning cleave build, which we can go over later maybe. But now what you want to do is kind of like go back to there. Like this guy won't hurt you, but if the tank always positions this guy in the right spot, that's good. Then you can keep on stacking these guys up, and then like the floor effect that they do won't be like a big problem. So right now, either ancestral guidance or your defensive would have been very good. Maybe the healer, maybe not for the first one, but I mean you have like a couple of tools. Oh yeah, so you just got booped. So now you're on the other side of the room. So things are gonna get out of hand real fast. So yeah, like your DPS right now is like yeah, like only 30k at the start of the fight with Lust. It's only gonna get way worse from here. So if you live, and if you do die at this point, it would definitely be your fault. I don't know if you have any health potions. You do have a health potion, but you haven't used that either. You weren't actually in harm's way there, but you did move anyway. So a lot of like little basics like that. Yeah. So okay. The good news is you have a ton of room to improve. Like you can definitely be doing 45k DPS at your item level in this dungeon. Like that is not unattainable by any means. And the way that I would look about going about like getting that damage is just like maybe log some things, maybe record some more things, and always ask yourself like, am I always casting? Every single moment you're not casting, ask yourself why. And really, it's just like little brain farts. I think like what am I doing? Like it's a new dungeon still, like things like that. But once you know you're always casting, and once you have the right build for the right week, in theory, you should have been able to outperform the other shaman, being that you're running like a Tyran version of the build. Um, in theory, you could have outperformed him, but you weren't like really setting yourself up for success in between pulls. So focus on always casting and making sure that you end pulls with Maelstrom and with cooldowns for the next pull. When we're running Skybreaker's Fiery Demise, we're getting a lot of CDR back. So we're going to have our Fire Ellie for basically every single pull, assuming everybody has Flame Shock on them. And we get CDR for every single Lava Burst cast on our Primordial Wave. So you're going to have to train yourself to not cast Chain Lightning so readily and not cast it when you have too much Maelstrom. Because what you could have been doing is Earthquaking into your Lava Burst. I always mix these things up. Lava Burst procs instead. And if you did that, then you would have probably have had Primordial Wave up before a lot of these pulls when it was on cooldown still. Aside from the ones where they were like, like just like one mob with one sliver and you used it anyway. And then you wasted the effect of Primordial Surge. So a lot of things you can do. I would really make sure you're using your Call of Elements. I don't know if you actually used it the entire time. Extremely expensive talent to not use. Same goes for Ancestral Guidance. Very, very expensive talent to never use. There are maybe passive things you can use in the meantime while you're training yourself to get the muscle memory. I would consider Flash of Lightning, even maybe in place of Flame Tongue Weapon. Like I've been using like it's probably like a small DPS decrease with this build, maybe like 1 to 2%. I would imagine. I'm not sure, but it's not a massive decrease to use like the Howling Rune instead, and it gives you a talent back that you can use into this, which gives you a lot of utility and a lot of flexibility with all of your like nature spells, which is like all of our utility kit. So that's my advice to you. Let me know if it ends up working. I'd be happy to do a follow up and see if any of this ends up mattering a lot. But good luck in the next ones, and let me know how it goes.